Hi everyone, so following on from the framed half hexagonal card that I did on my live stream, I had a few requests for a larger version. So I had a request for an 8x8 version and also for a 5x7 version. So this today is going to be the 8x8 version. It actually measures 7.5 by 8, but that's the only way I could do it to get it, the measurements right. Please do not craft along with me in this video because I do make a couple of mistakes. A bit tired, wasn't thinking, so yeah. But it's quite a nice card, as you can see. It's nice and big. There's all sorts of things you could do in here. There's all sorts of different things you can maybe do on the sides, have things dangling down. There's all sorts of things you could do. And then on the back, you've got space to write. I've done a really large Happy Christmas. This was actually a Do Craft Paper Mania Christmas stamp from maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, not sure, quite a lot of years anyway, quite a few years. And then the paper I've used here was a cheap pad from the range. I can't remember who it was, probably Craft Sensations I would imagine, but it had it was sort of like postcard, like 4x6 size, and it had like foil designs in it and like one of each. But yeah, that's quite nice. And then this sparkle print on the back is Paper Mill Direct, and it's the Periwinkle Sparkle, and I've also used it for the Joy on the front there as well. And then this is just washi tape. But yeah, it's quite a nice card, stands up nicely, you've got a lot of room in there to do all kinds of things with. So yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so for this card you need a few bits. You need quite a lot of mat and quite a lot of pattern, but similar to what we had with the other size. So I'm just going to get rid of all my embellishmenty bits, and then we'll deal with the main strips and also this back piece here. Okay, so for this you are going to need, so this is an 8x8 version, okay. I've also got a 5x7 which may or may not have gone up already before this video goes out. I can't remember which way I'm going to be doing it, but you need one piece that is 5 inches by 8 inches, which is this piece here. So this piece is 5 inches by 8 inches. Then you need another base piece that is 7.5 by 8. And then you need 2 strips. One of them is going to be 1.5 by 11.5. And the other one is 2 inches by 11.5. If you've got 12-inch card, which I have here, then just use a 12-inch. If you haven't got 12-inch card, then go for 11.5 or 11.75. Whatever you've got that's in between 11.5 and 12 is absolutely fine. Right, so let's score these now then. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 2-inch one, but they get both scored the same way, the 1.5 and the 2.5. They're both scored the same. So I've actually cut mine down to be 11.5. But as I said, if you've got 12, it's not a problem. Right, so you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, and at 2 inches, and at 4.5, and at 7, at 9.5. and at 10 3/4. Okay, so that'll give you that, and you're going to do the same again on this other strip. Okay, so then you want to bring in your big piece, which is 7.5 inches by 8 inches, and you're going to score it along the 7.5 inch length, and you're going to score it at 1.25 and at 6.25. And then what you want to do is you literally just want to take 1/8 off either side. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut it first, with like a 1/4 of an inch less, but then it's just your score lines end up being eighths and stuff. It's just easier to, I find it easier just to score and then cut. Okay, so I'm going to trim off just 1/8 of an inch either side. If you do want to trim it down, then your piece of card needs to be 7.25 by 8, and you're scoring it at 1 1/8 and 6 1/8. So you can do it that way if you want to. I just found it easier just not to bother with 1/8 of inches. Okay, so that's all of our scoring done. Okay, so on your main base piece, we're just going to fold these to be valley folds. And then we're going to take our 2 strips, and these are all going to be mountain folds. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and decorate. We'll decorate the inner piece first, and then we'll do these 2 strips. So for this inner piece here, you need 2 matte layers I've stuck my mats and my patterns together, but you need 2 mat layers that are 4 3/4 by 7 3/4, and then you need 1 pattern that's 4 1/2 by 7 1/2, and 1 white card that's 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. And this is just going to go on here, and this one is just going to go on the back there. So if you go ahead and stick those down. Okay, so we've done that. We've done the back piece there and this piece here. This is actually periwinkle sparkle print from Paper Mill Direct. Really nice. I don't know if you can see that sparkle on it. It's like an iridescent sparkle on it. It's just nice if you want a card that's just a little bit, not just normal, but isn't too in your face. Right, and then for these strips here, you need 2 matte pieces. Now, you don't have to cut patterns out because you can get quite sort of thin with it. But I just went for some washi tape. So this is actually some washi tape that I've got. So the matte pieces are 7/8 by 7 3/4. So you need 2 of those. If you were going to go for pattern as well, you'd probably want it to be about 3/4 inch wide, maybe 5/8, maybe. Yeah, and so they're going to go there and there. So I just decided to use washi tape, and I've just gone over the edge with it. Just thought it might be a bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this down. Okay, so that's as far as we can go with that back piece. Right, so if you bring in your 2 strips, now the way it's going to work is the larger pieces at the bottom and the smaller pieces at the top. Okay, so they're going to attach round like that. We're going to attach around like that. Okay, so what we want to do, I'm actually going to put this on first and then decorate, because I want to hide something behind the pattern panel that is going to go on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over, and then bits of stuff everywhere, and then see, now I should have put this under here. Okay, that's fine. So what I'm going to do then, so what you would do is you would stick these, you would actually stick this on afterwards, and I should have done it afterwards, but anyway, I didn't because I'm not thinking, and it's been a while since I did this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this short and make it to here, just to here instead. Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do, and then that way it's not going to interfere. So effectively it'll be like that. So I'm going to do that. Normally you'd make it go under, but it doesn't make a great difference, to be honest with you. Right, I'm just going to trim these bits off. It's better if you can go underneath this because it makes it a bit more stable. But I've forgotten. So if you forget like me and you put this on the back and you're following this video like I am, and I've drawn you into the wrong thing, then yeah, just do what I'm doing. Okay, so I went ahead and just cut off those little tab bits. As I said, it's best if you have got them, but if you haven't, like me, then don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world, because the thing is, you're going to connect this onto these side pieces anyway, so you know, you don't have to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that is pretty much central like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue these down so they fit like that. Little side note for you again that I've just realised, when you're gluing, don't get too close to this crease line here with your glue, because otherwise you're going to stick it together, which I might have done over here, but I'm hoping that I haven't. Let's just turn it over and find out. No, we're okay, that's good. So yeah, just make sure you don't go right up into that crease line, because you cut a little bit off the edge, it just allowed for that to be there. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the top one. Okay, so you should end up with that, hopefully. So it's stuck on the back and on the bottom. And then we're going to turn this over. Just pop this up. That's where you get your little thingy bob. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to have this here like that, okay? And then for the background I've got loads of baubles. But what I need to do really is I'm just going to lay this down for a second, and then I'm going to stick my baubles on. I could have stuck my baubles on before I did my top and bottom strip, but if I did that, I wouldn't necessarily be able to see where all the space is. So I wanted to have some baubles. Now these are from the Coco Rosa Studio die order that I did recently. So I'm just going to have a bit of a play around now and see where I'm going to fit my baubles on. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my baubles down. Okay, so I went ahead and stuck the baubles down. Had a bit of trouble with it, which is why I did it off camera. Just because my glue, yeah, I was just having trouble, put it that way. Right, so next we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of acetate. Now, as you can see, I've got a little bit sticking out the side there, but it doesn't matter because most of it's going to be absolutely covered up by my greeting, so it doesn't really matter. And what I'm actually going to do, I think, is I'm going to stick, just trying to think, should I stick it on first? No, I'm going to put this on central because you will see a little bit of it, and I want it to be on centrally. So I'm just going to take my, excuse the rustling packets in the background, just going to take some red tape and just add a little bit of red tape on the bottom there and on the top. And I'm going to press this down flat so I can see where I need to be sticking my red tape. I need to stick it there, a bit wonky, and there. And then I'm just going to peel the backing off. Now if you wanted to, you could stick this behind the strip, behind this, but I just thought let me stick it behind my actual mats and layers. So we're going to turn this around and make sure it's kind of nice and central. Okay, so that's that, and then we're going to take our joy. And I'm not going to put it on just yet because I don't want it to get stuck underneath the mats and layers. So next I think we will decorate the top and the bottom strips. So the top strip, the matte pieces, you need 3 that are 1 1/4 high by 2 1/4 wide, and onto that you want to put 3 pattern pieces that are 1 inch high by 2 inches wide. You also need 2 little pieces for the sides, which will be the back, you can't see on here at the moment, and these measure 1 inches wide by 1 1/4 high, and on top of that you want to put pattern paper that is 3/4 of an inch by 1. Okay, so that's for the top, and then for the bottom you need bigger pieces, so you need 3 big pieces for the bottom that are, I'm going to stick this down in a minute, that are 2 1/4 wide by 1 3/4 high, and the pattern that goes on top of that is 2 inches wide by 1 1/2 high. And then you need 2 pieces that are 1 inch wide by 1 3/4 high, and the pattern piece is 3/4 wide by 1 1/2 high. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick these 3 on there and these 2 on the back. You'll see me do it, and the same with the bottom. In fact, I'm going to start with the bottom. Okay, so as you can see, I put the things on the top and I put them on the back as well. The only other thing as well is this bit here. For this bit, you don't have to decorate it if you don't want to, but you need 2 pieces that are 2 pieces that are 7/8 by 4 1/4 matte, and the pattern is 3/4 by 1 1/2, but I've used matte and I've used washi tape, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those in. The other thing I've realised as well is I did tell you to get this piece, which is the 5 by 8. If I hadn't have stuck that on, that would have gone over the back like that, and then that would have hidden the strips that you would have had there. This and its matte would have gone on top. However, because I forgot about that, this is now redundant, this piece. But anyway, that's where it would have gone. So yeah. Right, so let's go ahead and stick these on. Okay, so I've stuck my back strips on, so I'm going to turn it over, and now we're just going to go ahead and add this onto the front. Yep, that works fine. So when that pops forward, you've got a nice display, and if you wanted to, because that's quite a lot, it's quite a big space you've got there, so if you wanted to experiment with putting maybe bits of acetate across there, or whatever, you can. But it's quite a nice I'm not so sure about my baubles on the back, but anyway, whatever. The whole thing together is fine. I think probably I would have put strings in and stuff. I was intending to do that, but yeah, today went a bit crazy, so never mind. But yeah, so that's the card, and if you turn it over, you got your Happy Christmas and place to write. The whole thing, when folded flat, measures 7.5 by 8 inches, so it will fit into an envelope for an 8 by 8 card blank. But it's very grand, very nice. You could do lots of it. You could do things on the side here. You could do all sorts with it, to be honest with you. I can see quite a few different things. Have dingly dangly things hanging down. There's lots you could do with it. So yeah, so that's the card for today. Hope you liked it. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time. Bye.